I have a comment on your question as well. I think that during one period, the early part of the 60s, there was a real movement that started around the bomb shelter thing and the whole civil defense movement that was gaining a little bit of steam. It was gaining a little bit of steam. And what I think distracted America and Americans from that quite quickly was the incursion into Vietnam. Because everybody, remember, the largest group of young Americans living in history were also living at that point, the baby boomers, okay? Bernie's and my age and kids somewhat younger than us, all of whom were war eligible, okay? The largest group of young Americans ever to exist, almost outweighing the ones that were older than them in terms of numbers. And I think what happened was that this caught, even though it was slow, as Bernie said, 63, 64, it caught the nation so much that people were temporarily distracted from the nuclear fear, okay? Every night, Walter Cronkite, every night talked about the body count. And I'll tell you, after about 1 year, I couldn't turn on television. I could not look at it. I could not think about it. I would get on an airplane and, stick the radio thing in my ear and listen. I couldn't listen to it because every day it was a body count. So I think one thing that went on during that early period is the media shifted its attention. And once a year, President, Congress, budget, bang, Russians are there, let's keep building it up. No one paid any attention. We paid our taxes, we did our thing. But all the focus was on that one little country during that period. So people forgot temporarily about it. They were yelling about peace, but they were yelling about stopping killing our boys.
So I think if one also, just to take a little tangent, if one thinks about the 60s, and I say, well, what would be the significant thing about the 60s? Probably if one understands that today, give you an example. As you know, in elections, about half the people vote in America. Most of the people don't vote in local elections. Often you have a lot less than that voting. The truth of the matter is most people are not active, politically active. Most people, depending on the area and the time, the vast majority of people are not active in trying to shape the social environment that they're living in. It's always a small numbers of people. What happened in the 60s, all over the place, is that people themselves became far more involved. Instead of sitting and allowing other people to make decisions for them, they began to get up. And you saw that all over the place. Certainly, for many, many years, there had always been a black movement, a civil rights movement. For many years it was conservative, middle class, NAACP. And then what happened is the movement spread to the young people, and in the area of the black Muslims, and Malcolm X and so forth, it spread to the ghettos. Black people who had been oppressed for many, many years were afraid to stand up, now stood up with a rage. Okay? And women in the same way, who had felt many oppression in a variety of ways for many, many years, they began to stand up. And students who had felt academic oppression, if you like. I was reading just briefly in the anthology you have. There's a wonderful thing, a fellow named Mario Savio. You remember Mario Savio? Out at the University of California at Berkeley. And what you had there at Berkeley, you have a tremendous, 30, 40,000 students out there, 20,000, I don't know, it's like a factory. And what he said is, it is a factory. We are as students, being treated like factory products. No one cares about what we feel. No one cares about what we want to learn, what our aspirations. The teachers are not telling us what we want to know. They're not working with us. We're little slots in the machine. And of course, the students themselves began to demand changes in the university, and then that started a whole student movement. But all over the place, more and more people were making demands upon the system. And that was probably the most important and exciting aspect of that period. Because if one believes in democracy, basically the most important thing you're believing in is the right of people to control their own lives, the right of people to participate in the process. The whole word, participatory process, came out of that. How do we make decisions? Well, I'm the leader and you're the follower, so I'll tell you what to do. Well, people were saying, no, that's not the way we want to do it. We want democratic participation. Okay? And people were talking about well, maybe that should take place not only in academia, maybe we should actually give some of the faculty and students some decision-making. Maybe it should take place in the workforce as well. Maybe we should begin to challenge a system where the boss makes all the decisions and the worker does all the work. Okay? But what I would say was the exciting aspect